today's lesson, we're going to be able to create algebraic statements and equations. For the variable definition, what you're going to write here, it's a letter used to represent a number. Try that again. A letter used to represent a number. In algebra, we tend to use x's and y's a lot. An algebraic expression is a collection of numbers and variables that are connected by one or more operations. Operations being add, subtract, multiply, or divide. So an example of an algebraic expression might be something like this, 5x minus 2. An algebraic equation is a mathematical statement that uses algebraic expressions along with an equal sign. So for example, if we take that 5x minus 2 expression and set it equal to 10, that's going to be an algebraic equation. So the difference between expressions and equations is expressions you do not solve, equations you do. Translating words to symbols, these are some words that would mean these operations. For example, if you saw the word plus in a sentence, you would know to add. The same as the word sum would tell you to add. Increased by, more than. So those would all tell you that you need to do addition. There might be other ones also, but these are the ones that you would tend to see probably most often in a textbook or on the Regents exam for that matter. Subtraction, you might see the word minus. You might see the word difference. You might see the phrase less than. You might see decreased by. Okay, all stuff that you might see. Multiplication, you tend just to see these words, times, product. You might see square, cube, twice, etc. Division, you tend to see the words quotient. And you tend to see the word divided by. Okay, so those words will tell you how to figure out what to do in a problem. Setting up problem when you're just given words, something like this, the first example, 3 times a number increased by 5. You would probably write this, 3x plus 5. 4 less than a number divided by 3. We need to know what that 4 less than a number is, and less than always comes second in the problem. So 4 less than a number, x minus 4, and then you'll divide that thing by 3. One number is twice another, so if one number is x, then the other number would be 2x. There's your time for your times. Here's another one talking about money. If D is the number of dimes and N is the number of nickels, and you have 20 coins altogether, then you would say that the number of dimes, D, plus the number of nickels, N, equals 20. And then if they are a little more specific in terms of the values, and they tell you D is the number of dimes and N is the number of nickels, but you have $1.80, how would that look like? Well, money says dimes are worth 10 cents, nickels are worth 5 cents, and you have $1.80 altogether. That's how you deal with money. Money to money gives you money. If you want to change this from dollars and cents to just pennies, which you could do, there are 10 pennies per dime plus 5 pennies per nickel plus 180 pennies in $1.80. That's fine as well. Now we get into consecutive integers, or consecutive even and odds. Consecutive integers are numbers one right after another. For example, 1, 2, and 3 are consecutive integers. They're one right after another. So when we set up consecutive integer problems and you don't know what the first integer is, then basically you would say that let x be your first number. And then the number after x would have to be x plus 1, so that's your second number. And then your third number would be x plus 2, and so on and so forth. So for example, if you were to choose some random value, let x be, I don't know, 13. So if we want x to be 13, then x plus 1 is 14, x plus 2 is 15, and those numbers are in fact in consecutive order. So what you need to know is the setup. The x plus 1, or excuse me, the x plus 1, and the x plus 2. That's how you set up consecutive integers. If you're setting up consecutive even integers or consecutive odd integers, even integers, you know, would be numbers like 2, then 4, then 6. Odd numbers will be something like 1, then 3, then 5. You should notice that consecutive evens increase by 2 from one to the next. But you should also notice that consecutive odds increase by 2 from one to the next. So your setup, whether it's even or odd, is the same. The first number is always the unknown. It's always x. The second number, no matter whether it's an even or an odd, is x plus 2. And if they ask you for a third number, whether it's even or an odd, it would be x plus 4. Okay, so there's your setup for consecutive even integers or consecutive odd. It doesn't matter what they're referring to. It's still skipping every other. So if we actually do a word problem that talks about the sum of two consecutive odd numbers is 16, find the numbers, you need to create a let statement, and that would look like this. We're only needing two numbers that are consecutive and they're odd. Well, consecutive odds start off as x being the first unknown, x plus 2 being the second unknown, and it says the sum of those numbers is 16. So what they want you to figure out is the first number plus the second number equals 16. If we were to write that algebraically, we'd have x for the first number, we'd have x plus 2 for the second number. We'd add those together, set them equal to 16. When we do the math, we combine like terms. 2x plus 2 equals 16. Subtract 2 on both sides. 2x equals 14. Divide by 2 on both sides. X is 7. So the integers that they're talking about, consecutive odds, the first number, which is 7, is x. The second number is 7 plus 2, or 9, which is going to be the second. On number 7, cross off find the numbers. We're not solving this. We're just going to set it up. So on number 7, the product of two consecutive numbers is 90. Well, they're just consecutive, not consecutive even or consecutive odd. They're one right after the other. X is your first number. X plus 1 is your second number. Product means to multiply. So they want you to do first number times second number, and that's 90. Well, that shouldn't be too terrible. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this. My first number is x, and my second number, it's a binomial. It should be in a parentheses. Is x times the quantity of x plus 1. What you probably would see would be something like this. Without the multiplication symbol, just x times x plus 1 equal to 90. 2 more to go. Number 8, the larger of two consecutive integers is represented by x plus 4. Which expression represents the smaller? Well, they're just consecutive. They're one right after the other. So if the bigger one is x plus 4, the smaller should be x plus 3. Last question, we're just going to set it up. We're not going to solve anything. There are two consecutive even numbers. 3 times the first is equal to 2 less than 4 times the second. Break it down. consecutive evens. Let me actually go to a different color. X has to be your first number. X plus 2 has to be your second number. In English, it's saying to you that 3 times the first number is equal to 2 less than 4 times the second. Well, 2 less than has to come last. So we're going to say 4 times the second number minus 2. When we set this up the way we're supposed to, I'm just going to keep my 3, my parentheses, my 4, my parentheses, minus 2. The first number we know is x. The second number we know is x plus 2. It would be nice to simplify this thing. 3x is just 3x. Distributive property becomes 4x plus 8. We can't forget there's a minus 2. So the final equation in simplified form would be 3x equals 4x plus 6. And there you have it. You should be fine with the homework. Good luck and good night.